bit of a video. I don't know if you can see, but to me that wider stance is very noticeable. It's just about 4 inches wider, and the tires just barely stick out past the fender. It's not bad at all. Okay, you can see. Come back, it's just slightly wider stance there. Okay, I'm gonna narrate while I drive on this. I can't get the phone any further over because I got things locked down for other reasons. Update here. Okay, I bought the Rocky Mountain tires from here in California. It's America's Tire. Every place sells this discount tire. It's their brand. Read very good reviews on the tires, but the thing I ran into is that the size I wanted was a 275/70/17 tire. They don't have that size in the Rocky Mountains brand, or the discount / America's Tires brand there. So I wound up going with 285/70/17s, which are a slightly taller tire and quite a bit wider. Overall, great price. I mean, I saved $60 a tire by buying those over any of the, trying to go with the original equipment, 255/75R17s, or going up to the 275/70/17s, which would have been diameter-wise an exact duplicate, just wider. But couldn't get them. And these tires, again, were a hell of a lot cheaper per tire. They're wider, very good ratings on them for traction, snow, the whole 9 yards, so I decided to go with them. Supposedly, they were supposed to fit my Jeep here in stock. I've got a 2013 Wrangler Moab Edition GKU. And they pretty much fit, except for if I went into a real hard right-hand turn, you could hear the left front tire just barely kissing the sway bar. So just today here, within the last hour, I just put some 2-inch spacers that I got from Amazon on this thing. So it's kind of an acid test. Also, it gives me more clearance inside the wheel well. So if I do go up to the Sierras a lot, and even though I'm 4-wheel drive, there are times where you need to chain up. And I wanted to have the clearance both front and rear, so I could chain front or rear depending on situation, or if I need to chain up all four, I can. I won't have any interference issues. Now I'm going to go ahead and drive this thing. I'll kind of narrate as I go. I want to feel stability because my track is about 4 inches wider than it was with the 2-inch spacers I put on here. The Amazon spacers, their brand. We'll see how they do. They look like a good piece when I put them on. And one thing I'd noticed on a few of the other reviews is the thread's not locking well, or the threads for the spacer onto the original wheel studs. Well, in my case, it was perfect. When I tighten those things down, the end of the wheel stud is perfectly even with the end of the bolts that came with the kit. So I've got plenty of thread holding them in place. These were, what do they call, hub-centric. So they locked right onto the center hub. I didn't rely on the studs to hold them. And right now, I got a good ride, quiet ride. I'm heading down the hill here from where I live. I live the lower foothills of the Sierra Nevada, just south of and east of the town of Ione. And I'll be popping out on 88 here in a few minutes. Right now, I'm on the side streets. I'm on the North Shore of Comanche Lake, or I should say Comanche Reservoir. That's going to reopen this year to boats. It's been closed for well over a year because somebody launched a boat on that lake, and they had been out in the Delta and stuff, and the Delta is infested with zebra mussels, along with those blasted bidden crabs. And the lake got zebra mussels into it, and they've been trying to control those while they're putting boats back on the water this summer. We'll see how it goes. So right now, this Jeep's a lot quieter than it was. I had the Firestone mud terrains on this thing that the dealership had put on it when I bought it. It didn't work in the icy roads at all. I was slip sliding every time I got off the main highway. They were slipping. Wet roads, they skidded. Just not a good tire for 90% road use and 10% running forest roads. No rock crawling, just running forest roads, rough forest roads, that kind of stuff. And we'll see how it goes. Fuel mileage should be close, probably a little worse. But I'm hoping, because the tires that were on here were SLs or C1s, I'm not sure which. So you can only take them up to about 35, 40 max PSI. Well, I've got these tires because they're E1s. You can technically take them to 80 PSI. Well, I took them to 45, so the harder tires should have a little less rolling resistance, which hopefully will help offset the increase in diameter. I did a little bit of working in my head. These tires are a 2% increase in diameter, that kind of stuff. So I guessed that this thing came and is equipped with 373 gear ratio. With the 2% increase in tire size, that would be the equivalent of staying with stock tires and running about a 266 rear end, or I should say a 266 pumpkin, which obviously doesn't exist. So where I'm noticing the difference is like right now, that little hill I was climbing there, it down geared. So we'll see. But track wise, no difference. I'm not feeling, because they are wider, I am feeling that they're more sensitive to road imperfections. But I don't have the tire hum. You can see right here, I'm in a curve here, but they seem to be tracking fine. And as I said, quieter, traction seems to be fine. And with the 2-inch spacers, I wasn't only looking like to put a 1/2 inch in there. That wasn't practical. They seem to be good right now, and I like that. I like the wider stance. They don't stick out from underneath the fenders all that far. The difference is they were tucked up under the fender by about an inch, inch and a half, and now they're sticking out from the fender only about an inch on all three, well, actually in all 4 corners. So that's where we're at right now. I'm not really feeling much difference. I don't push up here. I'm doing 40. This is a 55 I'm in, but nobody out here, no reason to push. And see what the gas prices are here. I'm coming up on the Buena Vista Rancheria gas station. This is on Native American land, so they don't have to pay California's taxes. But with all the oil shutdowns, the refinery shutdowns that are coming along with that one line, even these guys are getting hit. And it hasn't gone up again. 2 weeks ago, I was paying $3.29.9 for regular gas here. It is now $3.99.9, which is still ridiculous compared to most of the nation. Unfortunately, Nevada and Arizona are paying a price because they get their gas from here in California, and they really don't have a viable secondary source. So I'm hoping, and it probably won't happen, but I'm hoping against hope that Trump comes in and takes over the refineries federally under eminent domain and run them under federal rules, and show Newsom and the Democratic supermajority in our legislature in this state the middle finger. Because they're hurting the middle class, they're hurting the lower income people. And they keep talking the wealthy, the wealthy, the wealthy. Well, you're not hurting the wealthy, they're just pulling out. It's people like me who are getting screwed by your policies. So I don't know. Okay, I couldn't use any of the videos I made earlier because of YouTube and their policy about copyright stuff, even though we're talking about music I listened to this 50 years ago plus. But anyway, quick review. Okay, I've got, as of a few days ago, I put the Rocky Mountain tires on this Jeep. They are a brand from America's Tires slash discount tire rest of the country. So far, very happy with them. I bought them because they have a good rating all the way through. Traction, tire wear, snow running, everything. Good rating, yet I only paid, in my case, I only paid $192 a piece for these things. That was 5 of them because I also replaced the spare. And so far I'm happy with them. It cost me a little over $1,300 because I also went with the road hazard warranty for the simple fact that I always seem to find any kind of a road hazard if it's within 50 miles of me. I don't know how many tires I've run over a nail or a screw, or had a screwdriver fall off the back of a pickup truck, goes under my front wheel, kicks it up and catches the back sidewall. Had a railroad spike that got kicked up. I mean, it's just crazy. So anyway, I automatically go with the road hazard warranties on my tires, which, you know, it adds to the price, but it's more than paid for itself down the road. Okay, review. I had Firestone mud terrains on this thing, pizza cutters. They were 255 75 R17s. Very rough ride with those mud terrains on there, and they wore like crazy. They were put on new when I bought this Jeep. I've got just a hair over 10,000 miles on this thing, and those tires were 2/3 gone. Again, not designed for street use, and I do about 90% street use in this Jeep. Okay, I have put the Rocky Mountains on here. They are 285 70 17s, so they're about 2% taller, definitely wider. And when I put them on, according to everything I read, they were supposed to clear on this Jeep. This is a 2013 Jeep JKU Wrangler, and I did run into a very, very, very slight tire rub on the sway bar in a hard right. So what I did is I went through Amazon, found a good quality set of 4 wheel spacers, 2-inch. I put those 2-inch wheel spacers on here, and to be honest with you, the Jeep is better than it was with the stock tires and spacing. With the tires themselves, that little extra width, and because of the tread pattern that you can hear, there's almost no noise on this Jeep right now. Very little. You can actually hear the engine rather than the tire hum. Okay. The 2-inch spacing all the way around, it opened up the track on this thing by around 4 inches. And it has made this Jeep much more stable through turns. I didn't realize that just by opening up your track a little bit, you're going to wind up with that much improvement in stability. 4 inches made a big difference. And so that's where we're at on that one. The quiet 55,000 mile warranty on these things for mileage. And from what I've seen, it's true. The tires that were on here were, I'm not sure if they were SLs or C1s, but they were only rated for like a maximum tire pressure of 40 PSI. These here, because they're an E1 rating, I could take them up to as much as 80 PSI. I'm not going to do that. I don't need it. This thing is anything but heavy duty on that respect of it. But I am running them at 45 PSI, which is about 10 pounds per square inch harder than what is on the door jamb, and I'm hoping that by running these tires a little bit hard, it will help offset the extra friction from the wider tire and the slightly taller tire, and hopefully keep it at a halfway decent mileage. Right now, okay, it's gone down quite a bit. I'm down at 17.0 miles to the gallon, and that's with this Jeep. I had earlier this week, my wife is much more conservative than me. She had it up to 17.9. But I've been up and down hills and everything else, which really, really screws up the mileage. So that's where we're at. But as you can see, there's very little road noise coming off this thing. Much more pleasant to drive on the street. And my driving is about 95% street use, and then I do take it up onto fire roads and Forest Service roads at times up in the Sierra Nevada. But it isn't, I'm not rock crawling, I'm not going through rock gardens or anything like that. I'm just going over poorly maintained forest roads, that kind of stuff. And these should work fine for that. But as I said, also with that E rating, I got more sidewall on them, which should, if I do inadvertently kiss a rock wrong or something, hopefully the sidewall will take the impact better. Obviously, I'll be airing down, run the tires at around 15 psi when I'm off-road. And yes, I do have a compressor on board. I got one from Harbor Freight. That thing inflates these tires in like about 2 minutes from dead flat. Love that compressor. And I've got the Badlands winch, 12,000 pound winch from Harbor Freight, also on the front of this thing. I also put the winch plate on this thing. I have the stock steel bumper that was on this thing, but through eTrailer I actually managed to find a winch plate that worked on this stock bumper. The only thing I had to do when I put it on there is there's a vacuum canister up behind the front bumper. I'm not exactly sure what its function is, but it's some kind of a vacuum canister. And in its stock mounting place, things wouldn't work. So I had to take that stock mount and I had to cut it out. They've had a special bracket along with the winch plate that I put that vacuum canister on, and that is an extremely tight fit in there. I'm talking a fraction of an inch between the sway bar and that canister and the other side. So I had to put it in there, not totally tightened down, just slightly snug, and get everything lined up and then tighten it down. And it worked, but it took a little finagling. Okay, so I do have a winch on the front of this thing. I'm running, as I said, stock ride height. And the only time I regretted that is last summer. I went up to the fire roads, or I should say the Forest Service roads that lead out of Red Lake, which is Eastern Sierras off of Highway 88. And it takes you up to what they call the Highland Lakes. And it was a four-wheel drive road. They warned you, it's a rough four-wheel drive road. And I made it most of the way up there. Then I hit this one incline up there. And I've got like 12, maybe 13 inches of ground clearance stock on this thing. And on that road, there was a stair step. And those stair steps were probably 18 to 20 inches. And I honestly did not believe that I was going to clear those things. So I didn't want to take the risk. I was up there alone, nobody with me, and that kind of stuff. So taking a risk is not an option at that time. So I found a way to get turned around on that hillside, and I took it back down the hill. But that was the only time I regretted not having more ground clearance. And now with these, the spacers on here, there are two reasons for them. Was the slight interference with the front sway bar, and also when I get into snow. Now, yes, this is four-wheel drive, and probably most of the time when I'm up there, I'm not even going to need to chain up. And I'm four-wheel drive. This is not all-wheel drive. It is four-wheel drive. I can also have the optional locker on the back axle. Unfortunately, I can't lock the front axle. It's just strictly a limited slip. But there are times where I still have to chain. And I needed that clearance both front and rear. Depending on the situation, I chain up the back or chain up the front, or if it gets real extreme, I'll chain up both ends. And it's chains, not cables.